I think my first celebrity crush was Macaulay Culkin. Oh God.
Probably Divergent by Veronica Roth. And I remember reading Divergent and being like, whoa, what is this? And then reading Insurgent and being even more smitten. And part of the reason I was smitten is because Christina was this like black girl that I could finally identify with.
Twilight. Team Jacob. Fight me.
Twilight. I really love brooding vampires, and it really hit the spot for me.
Twilight. I don't think I really knew what YA was. I went literally straight from Goosebumps to Stephen King, and I didn't see anything else in between.
Twilight, I'm basic. I love that book. I fell in love in college with that book. I can't resist sparkling vampires.
Scott Westerfeld's Uglies. I'm obsessed with that book, and I loved figuring out what it would be like to be able to get any kind of surgery I wanted, to look however I wanted. Which, saying that out loud, I know seems a little problematic, but it actually got me thinking about who I wanted to be and how I wanted to look and how my appearance could help pull out what's inside of me and bring my heart to the surface. And that helped me set down this path of becoming the fully formed femme self that I am today. So thanks, Scott.
Courtney Summers' The Project. It's about cults and madness, and she's an amazing author. So yeah, that was my first book.
Raybearer by Jordan Ifiko. Really love the story. It's amazing.
The Beautiful Struggle, Young Readers Edition by Ta-Nehisi P. Coates.
Louisa Onome's Like Home. It is a gorgeous novel about change in so many ways. Like Nello, the lead character, she's dealing with changes in her friendships, changes in terms of how she's looking at boys for the first time. And then throughout all this, there's the ultimate change of gentrification happening in her neighborhood. And it explores how people come in saying they want to help, but they're not asking the people that live in a neighborhood what they want or they need. So it's just really thought-provoking, really beautiful, and everybody should read Like Home.
Love is a Revolution by Renee Watson. And that book is like chef kiss. So good. I mean, honestly, anything Renee writes is so good, but this was definitely a little different for her. And I loved it.
It's 50-50. Sometimes it's Instagram, sometimes it's the mail app because I'll like check my email.
Instagram. I really just like to scroll through my feed in the morning, still lying in bed, and see all the beautiful pictures.
Probably have to be TikTok. I'm not very good at like using TikTok, like putting videos on TikTok, but I'm an obsessive consumer of TikTok.
I check Twitter first in the morning, mostly because that's the fastest way to know what's going down in our crazy world. And especially after 2020, I just want to wake up and know right away what I'm walking into.
Oh God, Twitter. Need I say more?
It was a business studies internship at a Caribbean wholesaler's, irony upon irony, because Witches is obviously set in a Jamaican-inspired world, and I also hated business studies in school.
Selling jeans at Buckle. And I got to head the shoe department. I mean, I say kind of head loosely because I was 16, and really that just meant picking out the shoe of the month that would go on sale and figuring out what jeans they look cutest with.
My first job was at a Quickie Mart. I was the cashier, so I rang everyone up. I restocked, did the lotto, dollar box, dollar straight.
I worked at a daycare center. I was in charge of the infant and toddler room, and it was a real adventure. I didn't really have very many infants, but the toddlers were always a real good time.
My very first job was working for Torrid, which is a plus-size clothing store. It was one of the first locations in the country back in the day, and I was selling cute clothes to cute plus-size babes.
Keanu Reeves, which is a little weird because he's still one of my celebrity crushes.
Oh, Heath Ledger. He was such a true talent and so cute. And the very first time I saw him, it was like, gay.
Grant Hill of the Detroit Pistons. I think I was in like 3rd or 4th grade, when I started watching Pistons games, and I was just obsessed at like 9 or 10 years old. And I got his sneakers and I wore them in my 5th grade class picture. So I'm like in this cute white sailor dress I had on my Grant Hill Filas because I was obsessed with him.
I think my first celebrity crush was Macaulay Culkin. Oh God.
I'm a little fuzzy on this, but I think it would have to be Siobhan Vivian or Sarah Dessen back when I was still a librarian, like at like a library convention or something.
Jodi Picoult. I met her when I was finishing up my senior year of college, and she came to town to interview the president of my college. I went to Spelman College, historically Black college for all girls. So it's like this Black girl school, and Jodi Picoult was coming to interview the president of our college, and I got to meet her because I was doing an independent study. Pro tip, if you are in college and you can do an independent study, use that time to do what you want.
First author I met in real life was Sister Souljah, my freshman year of college. She was touring for her new book, The Coldest Winter Ever. And I got to meet her and she signed my book and I told her I wanted to be an author.
I met Justina Ireland, Danielle Clayton, Lee Bardugo, and Daniel Jose Older, amongst other authors at a writing workshop, and it was amazing. My favorite part about that workshop was singing Kiss from a Rose by Seal with some of the authors. It was epic.
Remember Shannon at her launch for the Priory of the Orange Tree in the London Waterstones.
Catherine Applegate was the first author I ever met in real life, but I knew her as K.A. Applegate, which is the writing duo with her husband Michael Grant for creating the Animorphs books, and I was so freaking starstruck. I felt like I was a part of the Animorphs crew, and I was convinced an Andalite ship would crash land and let me morph along with them. So when I met her, it was just like, I couldn't even get a word out. If you're watching this, Catherine, sorry, that was so weird for you.
The Office. That was always sort of my go-to when I was, kind of feeling down.
6 Feet Under, and to this day, the series finale for that show is like iconic in my mind. I really need to go back and rewatch the whole series, but that last episode is so good.
The Walking Dead. I watched 2 seasons of The Walking Dead in one weekend, and I was really attached to Team Rick until Michonne came along. Then I became Team Michonne.
The very first show I binge watched was The OC, but this was back in college before Netflix was a thing, so we couldn't order DVDs or stream things to come right to us. Paired up with different people on my floor, and we each bought a different season of The OC, and then we would trade around. And that's where I fell in love with Rachel Bilson, and we're best friends, but she doesn't know it.
Scandal was the first show I ever binge watched, and I remember just being up into all the wee hours of the night because I could not stop.
Grey's Anatomy from seasons 1 through 15, just boom. And I get through them really quickly too. I'm not sure if that's something I should brag about.
Matthew Claremont from A Discovery of Witches. Again, who doesn't love brooding vampires? And Matthew is the king of brooding vampires.
Jacob. I was always Team Jacob from the start. From the first time I read the name Jacob, I knew it was him. And if you're Team Edward, I don't even know you anymore.
Encyclopedia Brown, as weird as that probably sounds. So he's this little boy who was a detective, a white boy detective, but his name was Leroy. So I was like, okay, your name is Leroy. I don't think you're actually white because I've never met a white person named Leroy. But I really loved Encyclopedia Brown's brain. He was super smart. He was the son of the police chief and he constantly had to help his dad solve mysteries. Encyclopedia was my boo.
Li Shang from Mulan. I mean, he was so cute and chiseled jaw, and I'll Make a Man Out of You is honestly one of my favorite songs of all time. So I love him.
The Mortal Instruments. I got the first 3 books for Christmas. I read them and then I ordered the rest online and binged the entire series. Absolutely loved it.
The Hunger Games. I waited until the series was over and I read the whole series within a week. I binged it and it was amazing.
The Hunger Games, boom, 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 one book after another. I think I completed the whole thing in probably 3 days.
Goosebumps. Once I read one, I was like, yes, these are all my jam. So I went through them pretty quickly.
Animorphs. But I don't know if it counts as binge reading if like you stand in front of Walden Books the day the book comes out, waiting for the metal grate to open because you're there at opening so that you can go and get that month's Animorphs. If that's binging as you're reading it in person, then that's the first series I binge read.
Sweet Valley High or Babysitter's Club. Sweet Valley High was like a little bit more dangerous kind of feeling, so it was probably Sweet Valley High.